Happy Tuesday to my pre-K class. Hope you guys are okay. I'm tired of the rain, but you know, you can always go out and play in it a little bit. So, hope you're having a good time at home. Today we have our sight word again. As you will remember from yesterday, M and E says me. Can you help me? So today we're going to think of some words that sound like me. I call them rhyming words because the end of the word, you just change the beginning letters and it makes it sound the same on the end. So we have me, see, me, be, me, we, me, tea. This is the kind of tea you drink, like iced tea or hot tea. Here's another me, be, but this one with the E and the E, that's like the buzzing bee. Me and tea again. This is a T-E-E. This is like a t-shirt. That's how you spell tea. Okay, so what could we say with these? We see the bee. He may be wearing a tee. Would that look funny, a bee in a t-shirt? What would it say on his t-shirt? Buzz? Okay, so me, if you get a chance at home, you can sit down with your pencil and a piece of paper and practice making your M's and your E's. Okay? Also look for this word in your books. Anything you might be reading, I've got a book right here. I bet I can find the word me in here. Okay, we're going to probably read this book soon, but let me see. And you look through all of them. This has a group of a lot of people, but I bet I can find me. Well, I just surprised myself. I thought I would see it right away. But let's look over here just because. How about here? These are people are talking. There we go, right there. Thinking makes me hungry. Okay, so look through your books, find the word me. All right, here we go. Wilbur's here. Say good morning to Wilbur. He's very excited about how well we've been doing with his book. Today, if you remember yesterday, Charlotte decided that she was going to change the word, that everybody had gotten tired of reading some pig. So now she's going to put a new word in. And the word I think she's planning on writing is terrific. So we'll see how that works out. Here's a picture right here. Good progress right here of Charlotte. She's taken all the threads out where it said some pig so that she can weave her web and write terrific. Far into the night while the other creature slept, Charlotte worked on her web. First she ripped out a few of the orb lines near the center. She left the radial lines alone for they were needed for support, and as she worked, her 8 legs were a great help to her. So were her teeth. She loved to weave, and she was an expert at it. When she was finished ripping things out, her web looked something like this. And then they gave us the picture. Kind of looks like a wheel now. A spider can produce several kinds of thread. She uses a dry, tough thread for the foundation lines, and she uses a sticky thread for the snare lines, the ones that catch and hold insects. Charlotte decided to use her dry, thread for writing the new message. If I write the word terrific with sticky thread, she thought, every bug that comes along will get stuck in it and spoil the effect. Now let's see, the first letter is T. Charlotte climbed to a point at the top of the left-hand side of her web, and swinging her spinnerets into position, she attached her thread and then dropped down. As she dropped, her spinning tubes went into action and she let out thread. At the bottom, she attached the thread. This formed the upright part of the letter T. Charlotte was not satisfied, however. She went to the next, and then she carried the line down so that she had a double line instead of a single line. It will show up better if I make the whole thing with double lines. She climbed back up, moved over an inch to the left, touched her spinnerets to the web, and then carried a line across to the right, forming the top of the T. She repeated this, making it double. Her 8 legs were very busy helping. Now for the E, she said. Charlotte got so interested in her work, she began to talk to herself as though to cheer herself on. If you had been sitting quietly in the barn cellar that evening, you would have heard something like this. Now for the R. Up we go, detach, descend, pay out line, whoa, attach, good, up you go, repeat, attach, descend, pay out line, whoa, girl, steady now, attach, climb, attach, over to the right, pay out line, now right and down and swing that loop round and round, now to the left, now, then, out and down for the leg of the R, up, repeat, good girl. And so, talking to herself, the spider worked at her difficult task. When it was completed, she felt hungry, so she ate a small bug she'd been saving. Then she slept. The next morning, Wilbur arose and stood underneath the web. He breathed the morning air into his lungs. Drops of dew catching the sun made the web stand out clearly. When Lurvy arrived with breakfast, there was the handsome pig, and over him, woven neatly in block letters, was the word terrific. Another miracle. Lurvy rushed and called Mr. Zuckerman. Mr. Zuckerman rushed and called Mrs. Zuckerman. Mrs. Zuckerman ran to the phone and called the Arables. The Arables arrived in their truck. So here we have Wilbur standing under terrific. And it looks like he's smiling.
It does.
I think I gave you a picture of Wilbur to color. If you want, maybe you can practice or have mom or dad or grandma or somebody write terrific over your picture. Or every time Charlotte makes a new word, you could write it over Wilbur. So you'd have a whole collection of the words that Charlotte wrote for Wilbur. Everybody stood at the pig pen and they stared at the web and they read the word over and over and over, while Wilbur, who really felt terrific, stood quietly, swelling out his chest and swinging his snout from side to side. Terrific, breathed Zuckerman in joyful admiration. Edith, you'd better phone that reporter on the Weekly Chronicle and tell him what has happened. He will want to know about this. He may want to bring a photographer. There isn't a pig in the whole state that is as terrific as our pig. The news spread. People had journeyed to see Wilbur when he was some pig. They came back again to see him now that he was terrific. That afternoon, when Mr. Zuckerman went to milk the cows and clean out the tie-ups, he was still thinking about what a wondrous pig he owned. Lurvy, he called. There's to be no more cow manure rolled down into that pig pen. I have a terrific pig. I want that pig to be clean, bright straw every day for his bedding. Understand? Furthermore, said Mr. Zuckerman, I want you to start building a crate for Wilbur. I have decided to take the pig to the county fair on September 6th. Make the crate large and paint it green with gold letters. What will the letters say? Asked Lurvy. They should say Zuckerman's famous pig. Lurvy picked up a pitchfork and walked away to get some clean hay. Having such an important pig was going to mean plenty of extra work, he could see that. Below the apple orchard at the end of the path was the dump where Mr. Zuckerman threw all sorts of trash and stuff that nobody wanted anymore. Here, in a small clearing behind some young alders, and wild raspberry bushes was an astonishing pile of old bottles, empty tins, dirty rags, bits of metal, broken bottles, broken hinges, broken springs, and dead batteries. Last month's magazines, and old discarded dish mop, tattered overalls, rusty spikes, leaky nails, forgotten stoppers, useless junk of all kinds, including wrong size crank for a broken ice cream freezer. Templeton knew the dump, and he liked it. There were good hiding places there. Excellent cover for a rat. And there was usually a tin can with food still clinging to the inside. Templeton was down there now, rummaging around. When he returned to the barn, he carried in his mouth an advertisement he had torn from a crumpled magazine. "How's this?" he asked, showing the ad to Charlotte. "It says crunchy." Crunchy would be a good word to write in your web.
Oh my gosh.
"Just the wrong idea," replied Charlotte. "Couldn't be worse. We don't want Zuckerman to think Wilbur is crunchy. He might start thinking about crisp, crunchy bacon and tasty ham. That would put ideas in his head. We must advertise Wilbur's noble qualities, not his tastiness. Go get another word, please, Templeton." The rat looked disgusted, but he sneaked away to the dump and was back in a while with a strip of cotton. "How's this?" he said. "It's a label off an old shirt." Charlotte examined the label. It said, "Pre-shrunk." "I'm sorry, Templeton," she said, "but pre-shrunk is out of the question. We want Zuckerman to think Wilbur is nicely filled out, not shrunk at all. I'll have to ask you to try again." "What do you think I am, a messenger boy?" grumbled the rat. "I'm not going to spend all my time chasing down to the dump after advertising material." "Just once more, please," said Charlotte. "I'll tell you what I'll do," said Templeton. "I know where there's a package of soap flakes in the woodshed. It has writing on it. I'll bring you a piece of the package." He climbed the rope that hung on the wall and disappeared through a hole in the ceiling, and when he came back, he had a strip of blue and white cardboard in his teeth. "There," he said. "How's that?" Charlotte read the words. "With new radiant action." "What does it mean?" asked Charlotte, who had never used any soap flakes in her life. "How should I know?" said Templeton. "You asked for words and I brought them. I suppose the next thing you want me to do is fetch a dictionary." Together they studied the soap ad. "With new radiant action," repeated Charlotte slowly. So here's Templeton down in the dump. You can kind of see all sorts of stuff, and there's the word crunchy. That's the first one he brought back, which wasn't such a good idea. Okay. Suddenly, Charlotte said, "Wilbur!" Wilbur, who was sleeping in the straw, jumped up. "Run around," commanded Charlotte. "I want to see you in action. I want to see if you are radiant." Wilbur raced to the end of his yard. "Now, back again, faster," said Charlotte. Wilbur galloped back. His skin shone. His tail had a fine, tight curl in it. "Jump into the air," cried Charlotte. Wilbur jumped as high as he could. "Keep your knees straight and touch the ground with your ears," Wilbur obeyed. "Do a back flip with a half twist in it," cried Charlotte. Wilbur went over backwards, writhing and twisting as he went. "Okay, Wilbur," said Charlotte. "You can go back to sleep." "Okay, Templeton, the soap ad will do. I guess I'm not sure Wilbur's action is exactly radiant, but it's interesting." "Actually," said Wilbur, "I feel radiant." "You do?" said Charlotte, looking at him with affection. "Well, you're a good little pig, and radiant you shall be. I'm in this thing deep now, and I might as well go the limit." Tired from his romp, Wilbur lay down in the clean straw. He closed his eyes. The straw seemed scratchy, not as comfortable as the cow manure, which was always delightfully soft to lie in. So he pushed the straw to one side and stretched out in the manure. Wilbur sighed. It had been a busy day. His first day of being terrific. Dozens of people had visited his yard during the afternoon, and he had had to stand and pose, looking as terrific as he could. Now he was tired. Fern had arrived and seated herself quietly on her stool in the corner. "Tell me a story, Charlotte," said Wilbur as he lay waiting for sleep to come. "Tell me a story." So Charlotte, although she too... Oh, I forgot to show you. Here's Wilbur doing his radiant action jumping into the air and trying to do a flip.
Mhm.
So Charlotte, although she too was tired, did what Wilbur wanted. Once upon a time, I had a beautiful cousin who managed to build a web across a small stream. And one day, a tiny fish flew up in the air and got tangled in the web. My cousin was very surprised. She could hardly dare tackle it, but she did, and she swooped down and threw a great mass of spider wrapping material around the fish to capture it. Did she succeed? Asked Wilbur. It was a never-to-be-forgotten battle, said Charlotte. There was the fish, and it was thrashing wildly in the sun, and there was the web sagging dangerously under the weight of the fish. How much did the fish weigh? Asked Wilbur eagerly. I don't know, said Charlotte. There was my cousin slipping in, dodging out, beaten mercilessly over the head by the thrashing fish, dancing in and out. Then she dodged to one side. She threw a right, and another right to the fin, and a hard left. The web stretched and it swayed. What happened? Nothing, said Charlotte. The fish lost. My cousin wrapped it up so tight it couldn't budge. Then what happened? Nothing, said Charlotte. My cousin kept the fish for a while, and then when she got good and ready, she ate it. Tell me another story, begged Wilbur. So Charlotte told him about another cousin of hers that was an aeronaut. What's an aeronaut? Asked Wilbur. A balloonist, said Charlotte. My cousin used to stand on her head and let out enough thread to form a balloon, and then she'd let go and be lifted into the air and carried upward on a warm wind. Is that true? Said Wilbur. Are you just making that up? It's true, said Charlotte. I have some very remarkable cousins. And now, Wilbur, it's time for you to sleep. Sing something, begged Wilbur, closing his eyes. So Charlotte sang a lullaby while crickets chirped in the grass and the barn grew dark. This was the song she sang. Sleep, sleep, my love, my only, deep, deep in the dung and the dark. Do not be afraid and don't be lonely. This is the hour when frogs and thrushes praise the world from woods and rushes. Rest from care, my one and only, deep, deep in the dark. But Wilbur was already asleep when the song ended, and Fern got up and went home. And that is the end of our chapter. We have read 104 pages. We only have 80 more pages to go. Look at that. And you need to stay sharp because a lot's going to happen. So, have a great Tuesday. I will see you tomorrow. Wilbur says, have a good day.